What's going on in the housing market here in Perris, Menifee, and Lake Elsinore? And in today's video, we are going to be covering the local spats for smart viewers like yourself that want to stay educated to make smarter decisions. And remember, who you work with makes all the difference. If you want to work together, my information is going to be on the description below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I want to get into what is going on nationwide, because what happens nationwide affects what's going on here locally. This is crazy right here. Nearly 1/3 of major US housing markets now see falling home prices. That is shocking, as well as 72% of future sellers still expect offers over asking price, but only 42% of sellers are receiving them. And to add to that, 47% of frustrated homeowners just completely pulled their homes off the market, meaning that they're not relisting, they're probably irritated, cannot get what they thought they could get. 72% think they could get over asking in this market, and that is not the case. And half of them are just giving up. They don't want to relist, just completely taking off their home off the market and just giving up. So this just comes to show that there's people out there that want to sell, but they don't need to sell, and they're not willing to do the price reductions to lower the home price to reflect the current market conditions. Either that, or they probably hired a really whack agent that does not know how to market a property, that does not understand the market conditions. Right now, when inventory is skyrocketing, you need to get your home in front of buyers. And if you do not know how to market the property well, or you're not willing to pay for those resources, your home's just gonna sit on the market even though it might be priced correctly. June was such a bad month for real estate nationwide. As a matter of fact, 15% of pending homes that were in escrow, ended up canceling. That is 14% higher than June of last year. So 15% of homes that were under contract just completely fell out. Could be for many reasons. It's one of the worst Junes on record. Also, more than 1 in 5 listings had to do a price reduction, and the number of homes that sellers just took their homes off the market was up 47% year over year. That is pretty high. So homeowners are not getting the numbers that they want. For those of you waiting for that market crash, 1 in 5 listings had to do a price reduction. Now that number goes up to 2 out of 5 houses, 3 out of 5 houses, and that is a signal that we're turning into a huge buyer's market, huge opportunity for buyers out there. But here's the thing, 47% of sellers just took their homes off the market. So instead of reducing the price, they just decided just to pretty much just give up. So this right here has potential to bring back multiple offers for homes that are for sale. Mortgage rates plunged to 10th month low, opening opportunities for house hunters. And with this, we could see buyer activity pick up, because with lower rates, it brings back affordability, could get buyers off the sidelines that have been waiting for rates to drop. Can we see rates hit the 5%? At this time, I do not see that happening, but if we do, that could cause a lot of buyers to finally getting back into the market. Affordability can come back, and a lot of people have been waiting for rates to drop will most likely end up pulling the trigger. Now, is it possible to finish the year with 5% rates? I highly doubt it unless we have lower inflation and softer economic conditions. And if you're thinking about selling, make sure you're subscribed, because this is going to be interesting to see if lower mortgage rates are going to bring back buyer demand, and potentially the market could bounce back up. You know, right now we're seeing kind of a shift. It seems to be leaning more towards the buyer side. Aside from these builders doing these interest rate promotions, let's say that the whole market hits around 5% interest rates. Well, there is a good opportunity that it could bring back multiple offers depending on the inventory. So make sure you subscribe, because I go over this all the time, at least once a month. I go over all this data to see where the market's heading, and as interest rates lower, the market could start shifting again, and we could see multiple offers become common again. This is why I believe the housing market won't crash, right? There's a difference between the market balancing, stabilizing, and crashing, okay? So home buying searches hits a 2-year high on Google. So as rates hit a 10-month low, the searches for home buying hits a 2-year high. And if for some crazy reason the Fed does decide to just drop interest rates, we could see the same activity back from 2020, where multiple offers and buyers just started competing for the same house. There's no inventory right now. It seems like the inventory is hitting slightly over 2022 levels, and we all know prices are affected by supply and demand. This is how the rise of unaffordable mortgage payments have affected the housing market here in the IE. Well, in June and July, we saw around 2,500 homes went up for sale, and on average for both months, around 1,600 of homes went under contract, and that is actually less than last year. 11.9% for July and 13% for June. So far in the middle of this year, we did see the housing market start shifting. There's decreases for both months on the median sales price, as well an increase for inventory of home for sale. So a good indicator that the market did shift more towards buyers' favors back in the middle of 2025. All right, now let's move on to the local cities, Menifee, Perris, and Lake Elsinore. Real quick, if you want to know what your home might be worth, scan this QR code. Either me and my team will reach out just to see if there's any value we can provide, any questions we could help out with, any resources we can provide. Remember, what's happening in one neighborhood could be different than what's happening in another neighborhood, even though it's still the same city. In Lake Elsinore, we're seeing around 41% of homes decreasing their price. That is less than 2023. 2023, we saw around 55% of homes here in the area lowered their price. Right now, we are about 41%. But what's interesting is that inventory is actually peaking higher than 2023. So in 2023, there was less home for sales than compared to right now, but also there was more price decreases. Right now, it seems like inventories just peaked up above 2023 levels. There's less people reducing their prices back compared to 2023. There was about 55% of homes reducing their price, and then it peaked out and then just drops all the way down to only 20% of homes ended up reducing their home prices. So right now we are around 41% of homes decreasing their prices, and the median price right now is barely down in Lake Elsinore, almost 1%. Median price right now is about $590. This is what's interesting though. Active listings 133, and that is 50% more home for sale in Lake Elsinore compared to last year. Right now, with all these price decreases, it's putting Lake Elsinore's median price at $590. That is 0.8% less than last year, so almost 1% down. That is a market shift. It's not much, but we do consider that a market shift. The median price is down. This is what's very crazy. Active listings up almost 50%. So that right there is something we need to keep an eye on. If inventory keeps rising, will there be more people reducing their prices as it starts getting more competitive, as buyers start getting more options? In Menifee, 41% of homes are doing price reductions. Now that's still less than 2023. In 2023, there was around 62% of homes doing price reductions. But that number, as we could see right here, it is on the rise. And inventory, boom, higher than 2023. It looks like it just peaked over 2023 levels. And the median price in Menifee is down 5.6%, putting it at $590. Active listing is up 62%, 293 homes active. That is crazy, almost 6% less. That is something to keep an eye on in Menifee. Menifee almost down 6% in home values. 41% of homes are doing price reductions. Perris right now has 32% of homes doing price reductions, slightly lower than 2023. 2023, we were at around 41%. But as we see right here, this line right here is trending up. So we could see a rise of homes doing price reductions in Perris. And inventory in Perris is just shooting straight up, as we could see right here. But price reductions is kind of not really shooting up compared to other cities here locally. Perris just seems to be more stable compared to other cities. The median price is $585. That's a 0% change from last year. So Perris seems more like a flat line when it comes to home values. There's only 7% more active listings compared to last year. Median days on market in Perris is 24. Like I said, 32% of homes in Perris are only reducing their prices. So here in the area, new constructions, they're also doing price cuts. Homes are taking longer to sell. That is one huge reason. Affordability is not the same. Builders are adjusting their strategies, reducing prices, or giving people lower rates, as I've seen as low as 4%. Right now, these builders are focusing less on building more and just focusing on selling their existing inventory. So a lot of builders are pulling back on projects, offering more price cuts, incentives to attract buyers to sell their current inventory. And like I said, I've helped many people buy at the 4% interest rates. And if you live close to an area where there's new construction around you, that is something to pay attention to, because if your house goes up for sale, you could be competing against a builder who's offering a 4% interest rate. And if they're doing deep price cuts, that could affect your home's value. Now, everybody's value is a little bit different, right? So if your home is for sale or you're thinking of selling it, then selling it for less than what the new construction is selling their homes for, that is also a strategy. Sadly, these builders do affect your home's value because you're no longer competing against your neighbor down the street. Now you're competing with a huge company that might have a lot of inventory that they're just trying to get rid of. So that could affect your home's value. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my information is going to be down below. I'm going to have a couple links in the description for different people if you want to know what your home's worth, if you want to schedule a 15-minute phone call, if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're looking for new construction. There's going to be links for different stuff, so go ahead, read that. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do take a lot of time to do all this research, so I do appreciate the love. And yeah, till next time.